Welcome everybody, welcome to Team Fortress TV. It is I, TurboTabs, and I've got my merry crew with me because it's the beginning of the end here, DuMmTm, my co-caster.
Oh yeah, this should be one of the games of all time, I think.
Yeah, it is. They're just kind of like, speaking of battling to the end, it's really fighting for who's at the end of the table. But broadcasting all that information to your very eyes is our merry man Beta. Why not have caster of the season alongside another cast of the season and alongside I haven't won cast of the season yet, but I'm getting there. I'm winning. I'm trying. Anyway, speaking of winners and losers, we've got SVIFT and Nati Noot in the server here over DuMmTm, and tell me about these two. Yeah, tell me about these two teams.
There should be an interesting game here as well. Like you said, it's a battle for the bottom as well, and someone in chat might already say both teams have nothing to lose. I think everyone has everything to gain here right now. You don't want to get last if you can help it, and someone's gonna get it here tonight, basically. Max Team, I think, is too far ahead for this to decide anything but these two teams getting to last place. Product being SVIFT pick, coming out swinging on the mid fight, looking pretty good already, but with Poi going down, the control they have of the map right now might not matter so much because no one has heals, and Sneaky will go down. Taken out here as well. Danny and EDK, the only ones left standing. That might not be enough to defend this cap much longer. Nati Noot claiming this point back.
Yeah, they're just playing off the Faust heals at this point, just that little heal advantage. Kind of look to SVIFT to see how they can disable Faust and take the Uber out of the equation. Usually you might see sort of a suicide wave, but if you've been paying attention, there has been some nasty habits by some of these teams where they bring their medic in so far, teams just end up Ubering onto them. But there's the suicide wave now. No medic to be seen, and they will force out Faust's hand over on SVIFT. So mission accomplished here, technically, DuMmTm.
Pretty much, all of them go down, that's fine though. Like you said, the mission was to take down the medic in some capacity. Your point on big advantage, doesn't matter how many die, as long as you get taken down quick, spawn up with the rest of your team even quicker, but still have to chew through a bit of a foothold. Now, you can use this if you want to, but that's not how you really want to spend your resources here right now, so gotta get past this foothold as quickly as you can. Oftentimes you see the Pyros come out for this one. Not the case right now. They don't want to be here stuck with a Pyro in an Uber charge fight.
No, they've just used the Uber straight away, and they're out of there over on the rest of Nati Noot, and they've actually collapsed in on them. Players overextending, trying to get on the horses and get on top of this Nati Noot side, but I've not really seen many sorts of good Ubers where you end up with just as many dying players as your enemy team that you're trying to Uber onto here, DuMmTm.
Yeah, just got enough though that it might just get this point. It sounds like a good use of the Uber, but keep in mind, Lancer now with a better spawn as well on their part. And Faust with Uber coming up already. The second Lancer back in the fight. They are ready to go. In fact, we're not even wasting that much time. They don't want to get anywhere close to Poi having Uber as well. Time to just get on rolling towards this cap here. Try to squeeze out a bit of space before they even press the button on the Uber chart. Don't want to waste that thing too much here, but you're going to be cutting it close if you don't make a big move soon. And Nati Noot's trying to make it happen. Goes down early. Now the Uber comes out. Now might be a little bit too late. Oh, the Met's so far back already. Lance has to chase really deep, but there's no scout on B for Poi.
Okay, well there you go. I guess it does achieve what they were trying to aim for this longest amount of time. Oh, nice little air shot coming out from EDK there, but it does make me wonder if they were holding down the button a bit too long for my liking, DuMmTm.
It made so both bets going down. I mean, it's not the end of the world here. It already was going bad for SVIFT, so at least they get a consolation prize out of the whole thing. Late cap as well. They're delaying 4,000 spawn. The team with no cap possession obviously has the faster spawns on their part as well, but it does mean the red team spawns actually also just barely here in time. It's a bit of a sketchy one. Don't want to die now of all things after you let everyone spawn as well. Just about get away with it. Still ahead on the time, and Nati Noot with a small lead on the clock. Not so much on the Uber though, so SVIFT barely behind as they are. Might still make a counterplay pretty quick out of all of this.
They will be the first ones to get their Uber charge out all this, but I think during all the chaos, maybe they might just forgive these sort of little advantages, not really play off them. They actually have gone aggressive right on top of Poi. Poi taken out, and SVIFT want to take out all these players that have gone aggressive and kind of spent all their ammunition on that Poi kill. So yeah, like a pseudo-suicide wave before they even have a stinking Uber here over on Nati Noot.
Alright, SVIFT back in the picture. A minute behind maybe so, but at least they're back on point control. It'd be a tough one though. Fast living is, as always, the one thing that matters so often in CoF maps, right? It just feels like some of these kills you're getting just don't matter so much if you do not get the medic sometimes. Sure, the point time is good, but if they can get more point time out of their overcharge, it might just be off on out here. Let's see what 90 can do with the push. Last one was a bit sketchy, but got the job done in the end, and they got them to this lead. So it might just be all that they're looking for here. Push comes through, lots of damage already thrown over. Impo barely even alive anymore on their part. Rest of the team needs to be careful how much they commit as well. Sneaky eating damage, the damage looking good by Nati Noot, but not a lot of aggression fully committing through, and it's Swift's job to do that instead. They're going deep and immediately find success.
That's what we call a bad drop there. He's definitely saw those soldiers jump towards him. I think he was just holding it on for the longest possible moment, but a perfect cascade of just explosions did manage to get the pick off onto Faust there. It only works out, the only saving grace is they throw so many resources at Nati Noot that they get to claim a bit more time on this point here, but now it's kind of role reversal on this map point.
Yeah, timer still clocking down for them. Had to delay for Faust's spawns too, but Swift surely will make a quick recap out of this one. 30 seconds behind, not a big deal. It just has to last a minute longer for them, and they're back fully where they want to be. Cap time already coming through. Nati Noot's team, they're not going deep yet, and they're just letting them have the cap here. However, Spam's looking good. Ryan gets another kill. Spam worked a brilliant for them so far, and the force comes out very early out of point this time around. Saw what happened to Faust, does not want to fall prey to the same shenanigans. The second the bombs came out, it's already looking good, and the soldiers behind are still dealing more damage, and any of these kills are just going to be stuck in spawn timer for a long time on the red team.
Yeah, so Faust furiously building away at his own Uber. It seems like just a battle of medics not wanting to be the one popping aggressively here. Everyone playing very sheepish with the medics. I like it though. It's a much better display than we've seen in other weeks on these other viaduct maps, and the same gameplay is happening again. They see if they can weasel away the point, and actually no, going aggressive with the Uber now. Lanza's feeling confident, has eyes on Poise, but that's only eyes. No shots can really be shot on him. They actually cut him off, and they will get the kill over onto Poi, and that's almost a wipe for the Swift now. There's only the last remaining players, and they just need to kind of group up, blob up here over on Nati Noot, and this round should be theirs.
It may be so here, last few players alive, 4 in on the point, barely revealed. EDK with a desperate bomb coming through on the flank, but does not get past Hexray, and that will get the first round of the match to the side of Nati Noot. Swift might have picked this map, but maybe we gambled a little bit incorrectly on the map picks here, looking not so shabby from the blue team.
Alright, that was a long round, a long sort of marathon of a round coming into our first map. But they need to shake it off here over on Swift. It did look like it was quite even Stevens between both teams, so whether or not they can get a good start on our mid is maybe the deciding factor of whether they can take the second round, as we see the jump first come in from Swift. But they tried to take out the majority of this blanket. Oh, they thought Poi could get away there, but Ryan has his number. And with Faust still alive, they can again just blob up here because they know what's on the sight lines here. Surely they know that they're going to be jumping Faust. And he gets 1 rocket, 2 rocket, not quite the third, however. But the scouts come grazing in, and they will clean up on Faust. I feel like they should have seen that coming there, but DuMmTm.
Yeah, they didn't. I think they just completely lost track of the soldier behind, and I mean, it didn't get the kill, but sure did a lot of damage. The scouts easily clean up from there, looking like a long drawn out mid fight already here. Lots of captain for Nati Noot, but with the end like that, Swift would still claim this in the end here. But who knows? We're really just back to mid fight number 2 at this point, and Swift with Uber might still have the better end in sight right now. Spam's heavy already. They're trying to just get away with the cap time, and the threat of Uber combined with the spam that they have in their favor here looking really good. Nasty pipe hitting Nati Noot as well.
Oh, play great, left all alone.
Does trade, I guess? I mean, it could be going a lot worse, but that's not the one they want to see either, and Ryan can't get any closer either, so just no such luck just now for the side of Nati Noot.
I'm confused by Nati Noot's intentions there. Some people wanted to fight, some people wanted to completely back out. It wasn't really looking like a suicide wave when half of the team didn't want to go in. But Play Grey just acting big. Does get an equalising kill, so it could have gone a lot worse, but anyway, back to the drawing board, as the drawing board is now a little bit more red whilst Nati Noot were away, and again just playing a bit sheepishly, seeing if they can get that early cheeky pick or get a golden opportunity to start Ubering in. They will throw it in. Roaming soldier first, and he might go down to Danny, actually making him sweat and bleed for it. And oh no, he actually takes Danny takes that player out before they could even... And during all of that, the Ubers were exchanged.
Alright, well, I mean, SVIFT is with a much better round right now. Took a little bit of warm-up maybe, but getting to look a lot more like a team that wanted to see this map being played right now. Anyway, Nati Noot has been a little bit more the passive team this match to begin with, and once you're stuck like that, outside the point, it's just looking a little bit rough for the team that's just sitting back a little bit more this game so far. SVIFT, aggressive as always, trying to get more and more kills out of this, trading 1-for-1. Maybe not what you really are looking for right now. Try to get onto the medic here, flanks active as well. Ryan tries to get on the backlines, trades one more out of that as well. Threat in the back has been established, but man is so weak in the backlines. Can't get much going out of that. Still gets some ports point here with the kills they're getting. Just longer spawns matter a little bit here by the end. Nati Noot barely keeping himself alive as well. And the cap lab keeps on trucking along without either team having Uber. So it really needs to consider how much they want to go in on this.
Yeah, they had a bit of a player advantage there. It makes me wonder if Nati Noot could have just kind of reset and regroup and re-push in. You know, play off that numbers advantage for a little bit, but they would much rather just play things a bit slower and just trying to sheepishly pick away at that point. But the problem with that sort of tactic is it takes so much time. So much time gets delivered to SVIFT, what feels like for free. And now that they have the Uber charges between both of these teams, it's now SVIFT's turn to kind of pick and prod away from at them.
Yeah, Nati Noot just has to win an Uber exchange at this point. There's just no other way around, and otherwise they're not going to ever catch up on this big of a gap at this point. 1.5 minutes still that SVIFT is ahead on the timer. No one's quick to pull the trigger just now, which does benefit Nati Noot in many ways.
Faust!
Maybe benefiting pulling the trigger on that one there,
Surgical!
But again, he's not using to this. Man's holding on for dear life at any and all times.
Oh, but he's picked up a health pack, and all it does is it just baits in the rest of SVIFT to go in. I bet they were so shocked just the amount of damage they laid on that medic, but people forget if that medic doesn't initially die or nobody immediately goes off that damage, that medic's back to health in no time.
Yeah, fully healed up again, rest of the squad trying to make a bit of a move as well here, trying to push up towards this cliffside. Ooh, awkward one there on the flank as well. Faust barely escapes, and EDK gets caught at the crossfire. One more attempt at the combo, trying to get some damage going. That went really weak, just sticky behind the rock. They're losing players, they're pulling the trigger. Something has to happen here to end this fight somehow, but it's not going as expected. Yeah, boy gets out, and that's just a big old problem right now.
You know, and the hero player gets denied as well from Nati Noot, and Lanza is having to dig deep as well. Actually, dig deep, he's dug himself into a hole and he will go into the grave now, and God, it's going from bad to worse for Nati Noot there. Well, Sneaky even has Playgrave's number, he just came back to the world of the living just to die again.
Alright, push on the lefty by Ryan, tries to get through somehow to the combo. One kill might not be enough, but maybe the second bomb can get a little bit closer. And he's trying to make up for what his soldier teammate tried to start. Doesn't succeed, barely survives even. It was a valiant attempt, but they just were a little bit too far apart from each other on those bombs. Just too late off one another. Will waste a bit of time here, and they don't have a whole lot of that to spare anymore.
They brought Faust out to the outside world. It does make me wonder if they could go aggressive here over on SVIFT.
I mean, do they have a choice on Nati Noot really at this point?
I think I guess it is. The time is a bit squeezed, so they are just trying to puff up, see if they can get any sort of free kills. Faust actually popping off the Uber nice and early here, but it's just going to get countered over on SVIFT, so they're going to have to get very creative in these post-Uber fights for Nati Noot. And everyone's a little bit tagged, but nobody's really sort of isolated and easy to spot here. And I think Rye might be the first one to go down. Actually, no, Danny that's been exchanged. SVIFT are a lot more fragmented over on their side, and they even got Playgrave joining into the fight. 1 HP Warriors running around for SVIFT, but they're managing to grit their teeth and hold this here, DuMmTm.
This all started with a brilliant bomb by Nati Noot as well. Bombed the medic and somehow got a kill out of that after the medic served insufferably far away for the soldier to reach. And still dragged on, I think it was Danny with that as well. And everyone else following up off the damage they dealt with that first initial aggression, and it's working out pretty well. But it's a long time to go to bring this one back. Faust has Uber ahead, but that's really all they have in their favor. SVIFT only needs to recap once. Well, it's not going to be as fast as on the like Bagel with the cap. It's still a scary prospect. They can't lose this point at all.
Yeah, you can see the scouts are not enough trying to deal with... Oh, actually, they get a DuMmTm kill. They're actually dominoing some of the kills over on SVIFT here and agree to get this point. So this will put a bit more dent into that time, but Ubers have been brought up for Nati Noot to kind of add that safety net to that point now.
The captain they got before that play, though, matters quite a bit. You can't afford to do this much more again. Don't really have that safety net anymore, so whatever they do now about blocking point, they have to be just a tiny bit more aggressive. And that might just play in Swift's hands.
Okay, so they are getting brave now over on Swift. They will pop the Uber over on point, force out Faust's hand, and the two Ubers grinding up against each other. Nobody really exposing themselves to an easy sort of pick or fight, and now with the Ubers out of the equation, let's see what they've got cooking here over on Swift. And my god, Sneaky just walks into 5 players, immediately goes down. Danny comes back to the fight, but by the time he's back, the rest of his team has been minced and taken care of, and yeah, they actually pull it off there over on Nati Noot.
What a clutch! That's crazy. They were looking, they were like 2 minutes down at one point? This is an insane comeback on round 2, but Nati Noot are making it happen. I mean, they started off the season doing the impossible, and maybe the middle part didn't look quite that good, but we can surely end it on a high note as well, it looks like.
Ooh, the greed must hurt on Swift. I could see what they wanted to do. They wanted to just sheepishly play off the point and kind of bait them in, but I feel like they've got no punishing plan. Whilst if they were defending that sort of midpoint capping, there was nothing to really punish these scouts going aggressive onto Sneaky. Anyway, it's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new round. There's potentially the map here for Nati Noot can close this out, and they start off well, taking out EDK, taking out Pandemic as well. Faust will go down during all this, but Poi is also going down to the huge, massive domino
Everyone's
effect.
just hitting everything.
Exactly.
This is just going swimmingly for the side of Nati Noot. There was a good bomb, I guess, onto Faust. That makes up for a little bit here, but surely not for everything. This is a full sweep in the end on the mid-fight. And even with the tiny word they have, this is still now a lot harder than before. The only way they got this much time last round was by winning the first fight and keeping it for quite a long time. They don't have that luxury now anymore.
Well, fortunately, their respawners are a little bit quicker, so that does mean their Uber charge will get up a bit quicker. They can get back into the fight before a forward hold is set up by Nati Noot. So it's time to go for that sort of cheeky cat play again over on Swift Squad. If there's no Ubers in the equation, there's nothing really to punish them severely unless they overextend a bit over on Swift, but it's looking like Nati Noot is the one that's overextending here, DuMmTm.
More like underextending, leaving them a lot of point space open while falling back to deal with EDK in the backline. They get that kill, but more importantly, they get Sneaky immediately afterwards as well. And second, they actually do go back contesting point after just neglecting it for a second. It's just going right all of the sudden, one more time, point back instantly. That's not even 20 seconds left of that. And that timer continues to tick down. Uber fight having to come through to win the next point back for Swift just does not help the situation much right now, because whatever this is going to be happening here, it's going to take another few seconds to actually resolve the fight. They're going in early, and that's just going to be not as good a Uber fight as we would have liked, but it could be much worse here. Let's see if they can find any good position post-Uber though.
Yeah, but they're very reserved here over on Nati Noot. No sort of overextension. Sadly, Lion does go down over on the flank, but that was just kind of a freakish sort of spam event, and that sort of one-player advantage is enough to scare off Nati Noot and push them away here and make Swift feel a bit braver.
Yeah, it's certainly interesting. I mentioned it earlier. It's Nati Noot certainly playing this map a lot more passive than Swift is. Hard to call it passive on product, I guess, but certainly they're just sitting back and letting Swift do the first move a lot of the time, and it's been working out pretty well so far, including the last few engagements here. Let's see how it works out now. Once again, them having to be on the move, trying to throw Soldier behind doesn't work, but the damage up on the combo sure is looking good. Everyone on point together should be finding success, and while Lancer melts the flank as well, it's just gonna make an easy job of this recap here. And once again, this is like 20 seconds lost at most for Nati Noot, and they're already back in point control.
It hasn't deterred Swift, however, though. They are trying to stick and fight. They're going to do what they did last time, and that's like an early pop onto a scout to kind of get the force out. And Faust has used his Uber indeed. And in all of this sort of post-fighting, they try and enter the blender of these flanks and seeing who can kind of come out on top. Nice sort of stick coming out from Upo there. And this has definitely put Nati Noot on the back foot, and to the point where Faust might go down.
Oh, Danny wants it so bad as well, but I think both him and the scout chasing that were just a little bit too late. Faust will escape just fine. Uber's largely even, but timer sure isn't. A minute lead for Nati Noot. They got so much value out of these like really quick recaps they've gotten so far this round. Like I said, 20-second point time contestation each for Swift so far. Didn't get them much value. It's a lot faster than you would like to see, most certainly on their part, and going to put them a bit on the back foot on the timer here, maybe not on the Uber, and that might just bring them back in the picture here a little bit. They can take a fight here, and oh boy, are they taking one? Impo with the snipe.
Oh my god, what do you even do? And now it's time for Plan B, but god, Plan B was so telegraphed. You know what was going to happen. I knew what was going to happen, and these teams knew what was going to happen.
Oh, Nati Noot with one last ditch effort here gets on the medic. That's just good enough. He was hiding on top of them on house for like 3-4 seconds. They're just waiting, realizing, okay, well, they're done looking for everyone now. Time to strike. Patience works out here. I mean, it is plan C, really, but it's better than no plan at all.
Yeah, it's going to hurt though, as they do have a pyro ready for this forward hold that Swift are setting up, as they would have felt more than comfortable having to set this up whilst the Hoover was going off. And the soldiers have managed to both get in, and they will lose out on one soldier, and Ryan will slowly follow as well. A nice little pipe coming out from Player Grey, showing a glimmer of hope for this Nati Noot push. But maybe they can just trust that the fact that respawners are going to go Nati Noot's side, and these trades will win them out eventually.
Yeah, it's not a pretty way to get out of this forward spawn situation, but they have the time to spare, and they got there in the end. Uber coming up now any second. Spawns are here as well. Better get the fight on point quick up and forcing Swift's hand. Sooner or later, they're finally had on the timer, but only barely so. And it looks like they might just use the time on point here before the Uber comes out. They only pop after the fact, and this just means it's a Uber fight. Blue time will take down. Might make the spawns better for them here if anyone will go down, but you really want to play around that expectation. Looks like not really. Everyone's really far back for the most part here. Finally, the bombs are coming through. EDK trying to land in the backlines, but very known quantity there. Just gets taken out early. Gives up a lot of space on point. Swift is taking it back gladly. Impo and Sneaky over the cap. Just melt the combo completely. And once again, we're back to Plan V territory.
I have no idea what was the call from Nati Noot to go aggressive there. They just seemed to go into such a compromising position between their demo man and Faust as well. And I mean, credit to the flank over on Nati Noot to kind of pick up the pieces a little bit, but it was just, I don't know what was in the wind or in the stars for them there.
You're very right as well, because they were going back for the soul on the backlines at the same time, so they were just fighting two fights and not really winning the one that mattered in the end. Sure, EDK died, but your combo just got deleted because you left two people outside your own fight. Not a great start here. Think of EDK, man's the first one to die on this engagement. They're so close to getting around, but it's not quite there. Damage is looking great for Swift, but no one on blue is dying just yet. Medic really weak as well on both sides. Faust takes the heals. Wolfan, we have your point weak though, falls back, but do they have time to spare for the respawns? Nadian gets the point back, and this is 4 seconds for the last two spawners on Swift. They're going to come up on point, but Faust gets this Uber first.
What are these Oscar award-winning sort of throws from these two teams? I feel like they're just fighting to see who can just like, oh, should we go aggressive? Should we play defensive?
Why is Poi shooting arrows? You need this Uber. They won 90%, and we're just shooting things. They're what? How are they dying?
Oh my god! They've actually wiped them. I'm actually shocked from Swift made that sort of turnaround. Well, I mean, again, Game of Thrones seems to be the issue on this third round. Ah, God.
Major League Baseball is jealous with how well these guys can throw.
my. Alright. Hopefully we got our game faces. We get a bit of composure going into another round. It's the fourth round, believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, as we are going back into the fray. And speaking of, I see a jumping Ryan going on these flanks. The flanks seem to make it or break it for these teams.
Oh yeah, very much, and Ryan is on the case already. He lands right on top of the medic. No chance for Poi to serve that anywhere else but into the floor. Now it's once again protect the Calzone. They're out of this one early. Did lose lands and did lose Plague right late. Can't really hold on to this much longer. Not a pretty way to go about winning mid-fights on product especially. I mean, really not on any map for that matter. Winning with your mat living and then just letting them cap, but you lose time on this, right? It's something you can kind of afford on the 5CP map sometimes. Not here though. However, it's still a map when Nati Noot best of 5 in King of the Hill means they're so close to just taking this home. One more round will do. Let's see what Swift counterplays. The bomb's aggressive early, scout in with that as well. Everyone all at once, while Poi just gets the hell out of here. Pretty straightforward approach, works just fine. And trades this point out as well. I mean, Swift can be happy about it, right? They got what they wanted.
Yeah, I can see the plight a bit for Nati Noot. It's kind of hard to tell whether or not Swift was trying to play sheepishly or kind of go aggressive onto a sort of suicide wave. They will lose out and actually push out from the other flanking side over on Swift, kind of catching them a bit confused here over on Nati Noot. With Demoman Plague going down, this spells even more bad news. Lancer's next on the menu, and good God, I never have seen a forward hold deteriorate so quickly, DuMmTm.
Yeah, it's not gone so well here. Timers remaining close. Swift might just be behind on clock, but not for very long. And with the Uber in their hands as well, they certainly will go back in the lead immediately. And I mean, no, it's just Redfall hold as well. Sniper coming out against us. You don't see this all too often. You have the one angle from main attack, so he's trying to use, but you really don't have much to work with from there.
Yeah, he's gone back. He's gone. Oh, that's the correct class.
It's just a matter of perspective, right? Either you're a sniper team or you're not, and if you're not, then why you bother for this?
Oh my, nice spawn coming out from EDK. There's a lot of damage, and they just need to keep throwing more and more rockets and spam out. It's EDK more than determined. I think he must have got an arrow during all this, because I can't believe how healthy this man is coming from the sky.
Alright, well, there you go. Swift is looking really strong in the forward hold situation. Nati Noot only awkwardly got out of a forward hold scenario last time, right? Throwing soldiers in, kind of just got enough damage, but even that worked out purely miraculously on the threat of the med killer, because both the soldiers died pretty quick actually as well. Trying to bust out once again, soldiers leading the charge. Do this a scout early this time around, and the damage just is not finding any kills. Do they actually not have what it takes to break these forward holds?
Sneaky's coming around the back. He's backstabbed a horse with a gun, and oh no, that gives the rest of Swift license to come back in and just rain hellfire on these remaining players. It's oppressive when you can't figure out these forward hold breaks.
The time is just running away from at this point. I mean, Swift's win condition has been established now for the rest of this game, if there is more game after the next 60 seconds, but there's only 60 more seconds on this round, so they're getting dangerously close to get to the final round of the map.
They will force out the Uber over against Swift, so I guess mission accomplished, but there's a few casualties during all this, and again, more time spent.
Okay, but wouldn't it be funny if this all was happening with the blue team in point control? I missed that game, that was funny. Anyway, back to the game at hand here. Finally with Uber very far behind, but we've seen them make a similarly crazy comeback before. EDK, however, alone with the medic here. Wild Goose Chase up top, but the splash will connect. EDK finds the kill eventually. That cost him 3 players, it will cost him the point, but at the exchange of the next push, potentially winning them the round, it might just be worth it.
Yeah, it looks like it's perfectly a fair trade for them all, as Swift are going to be happy with this. Big smile on their face. No even forward hold to deal with coming out from the rest of Nati Noot. So they're playing things just really arm's length defense whilst Faust was away.
It's going to be dangerous now as well. You can afford to lose point, but I mean, only theoretically. Realistically, the second Swift gets point control back, it's kind of looking dire for the side of Nati Noot. They got to defend this fiercely and with maneuver disadvantage as well. Swift's invincibility is just going to be key in this next fight. Coming over the point already. Players behind doing a lot of work for the side of Nati Noot, but not living forever either. Ryan gets one, and suddenly there's down players here as well. The Uber ends point. Might just get out from the scout, not the soldiers. Nice pipe afterwards, but that's only 1-for-1 trade. Cap time is key at the moment though. Everything's looking in favor of Swift other than the Met going down. Do delay the cap. It sounds so alluring to just cap instantly, but you do want to make sure that the second the fight starts again, you have your heals back immediately. You want to win on the next interaction as much as possible.
Impactful bomb coming out from Ryan here, because now they get to push in knowing that they've got no heals over on Swift, and it's quite brave of them really to keep going out and defend like this, but is it a defense? More like
that. Nati Noot on the medic as well, gets the medic out of the door, but leaves the second rocket. Playgray saves the day, Lancer up there as well, but no one's on point!
Ooh,
oh no, P is spinning the grave.
I mean, I forgot about it, I'm not going to lie, I did forget about that point, and so did the rest of Nati Noot. That's got to sting. I think they couldn't really cap it because I think the Uber popped off during all that and everybody was just getting to share that Uber. Alright,
I mean, we wanted the game and here it is. Game 1 map, or map 1 really, round 5. We're going the whole distance for this one.
I am fascinated to know what bold innovations in Fuck Up can happen between these two teams on this map.
This is just a choke fest right now. Let's see.
That was a jump from Ryan, and then that he just is going to go back there. The double bomb coming out from Swift, and they get a bit more position, base at better position. EDK is cleaning up over on the flank, even laying out some damage before he dies. Danny even coming back here swiftly in to go and kill off that sort of last player fishing about over on Nati Noot. The only saving grace, they kept Faust alive.
I mean, that's still worth something, but unlike before, they didn't get point in the meantime as well, so the repush will be a little bit harder this time around. However, they don't have to go through forward hold again this time, so this will go a little bit quicker. He eats a lot of damage. Yeah, Medic really weak, has to fall back a little bit. The rest of the team still playing point though, they're still trying to pressure as much as they can, but without heals, resources depleted a lot faster than he's down already.
Oh dear. So with Nati down, it makes the rest of Nati Noot kind of a bit sheepish about pushing in now. They can't really play that sort of like see who gives up that weakness thing. And for some reason, they still manage to find these kills so much easier on Swift. I don't know if it's just an amazing focus fire from Swift, or if the Nati Noot squad just seem to expose themselves to the surplus fire.
Alright, here's the rest of the spam fight coming through as well. Everyone's a little bit restocked. It's Poi taking a lot of damage, serves it back. No heals for the combo there for a second. Can they make it matter? It doesn't look like it's sneaky, like you said. Getting the first kill, stuck in the back lanes now, but it has backup. EDK doubles down on it. Lots of damage onto Faust in the meantime, and they want to kill off that as well. So badly, not quite getting it, but Nati Noot down 3 now after all of this aggression on the flank, finally paying off for Swift.
Yeah, they've taken Ubers out of the equation, but it was really a bad Uber, it felt, from Nati Noot, because they did drop some players during all of that chaos, and they're coming back in now. They are trying to play off the fact that they're getting those respawns just that little bit quicker. They do lose Yupo over on the Demo Man, so this has got to be curtains for this defense for Swift.
It's a tough one. They're so weak. All of Nati Noot with barely any health, but they're just barely hanging on. That's all that matters. Keep the timer blue just for a little bit longer here. Barely got it in the first place. Don't want to lose it already again, but Swift now with better sport before Ryan and Plague are even up. They're trying to make this pushback happen already.
What are they scared of? There's 2 players not there right now for Nati Noot. Swift can go get. There we go. Now we're seeing a bit more of a collapse. I think maybe this is just showing some sort of, I guess, tight gameplay. Nobody wants to overextend, be the one weakness, but sometimes you've got to push in, strike while the iron is hot, and it's not hot over on the flank. The flank's been kind of left pissing in the wind a bit as the core group wants to just defend this point from an arm's length.
Alright, let's see how it goes now. Swift does have players down, but they just want to take the Uber fight. They want to deplete the resources and then get the spawns up after the fact. I assume it's the strat here right now. Spawns are coming up as well. Uber's ending now. Can they get back in here quick? It looks like they will just lose the point. I don't know, I feel like a fight like this is a little bit better if you have point control already. How are you gonna actually get in deep enough to force them off the cap
I guess
your players down?
I guess they're just really confident in their sort of exchange fighting. They're just the sort of mid-file style. Like, look, they got Plague Rate out of seemingly nowhere. So Swift really confident in that aspect of their gameplay. It's the only reason I can think why they would trade out these Ubers this much.
Alright, Nati Noot still quite a bit behind this round. Barely on their first minute clock down so far. Swift on their last minute already. Very different affairs here on the cap time, and they want this point time so badly. Swift making it difficult. Might just finally wrap up. Not quite even yet, but the damage is looking good. They can't defend this forever without invincibility. Looks like finally Nati Noot gets the cap break, but this is a 1.5 minute deficit. This is a large amount to climb. We've seen them be able to do this, but the last 2 rounds just did not instill confidence in them, I would imagine.
Alright, back into the fight. Uber is up for both teams. Again, it looks like another solo pandemic Uber, as he will get a kill onto Plague Ray during all that sort of roughhousing. And he even gets a kill onto Nati as well. This is an absolute abysmal Uber for Nati Noot. None of them can seem to keep themselves alive during all this. They even lose Faust.
It's over.
So the only way they could do this now is digging deep and trying to get a kill onto Poi and then keep pouring out the respawns, but they couldn't even find that. How on earth could they possibly get this?
Okay, how are they going to throw this time is the question.
I mean, they'll have to literally take their hands off the keyboard.
There's been some crazy things happening in this game.
19 seconds left.
In such a good position as well. Faust switching to crit streak barely will matter at this point. We've got to actually get the point first of all for this crit streak to matter. And Faust going to survive that by actually already.
Just need to pour it into overtime, and they are standing on the point this time. But they do lose Nati Noot. There's a couple of kills that rings out for them, but they need to play the big scout game and keep him alive. He does alive, and Faust actually does a good job of tanking a lot of damage there for his scout. Danny shoots himself! What?
And that's the end. Okay, I'm gonna be...
Oh my god, they changed the level instantaneously.
I'm gonna be...
I don't know who won!
I mean, I can just tell you.
Noot?
No.
Because they were the only...
I can tell you with good confidence without looking at the logs. That Swift won this, in fact. I mean, even if that wasn't anything to go by, you just saw spawn times at the end there, right?
Yeah, I mean, there was just too much time. There was way too much... way
too much time and way too little spawn time for Swift to not just run back in there immediately afterwards as well. However, I will name and shame whose server this is, and pretend like I can make admins punish them for some reason, even though the season ends already. Meaning there's nothing anyone can do about this one.
Swift did win, but I mean the fact
it's
that I said
Nati Noot server
that it looked like Swift were just like falling apart at the seams, and then it decides to end there. It does kind of put a shunt in the whole show. Looks like the climax for one team, but it's actually the other one that wins.
Okay, if any ETF2L elements are watching, please ban Nati Noot. Thank you.
All right.
That's why I'm standing on
We can do the next best thing. We can shame them in mathematical joy here, DuMmTm. So come on over to the lads. Come on over. Let's name and shame some boys.
True and real. Well, I mean, after how good they looked the first 2 rounds, the fact they lost this in the first place is honestly an accomplishment, I would say. That they were looking just so far ahead for a little while there, right? And then they were just stuck in the forward hold for 2 minutes, and it just was over at that point.
I don't know. I feel like a good portion of the games, both teams were played out pretty well, and even if there were like some screw ups, it was just they were understandable. Then every team, like clockwork, had some sort of ultimate fuck up per round that makes you kind of just scratch your head, like, why was that decision made? What's going on?
I do want to say there is now no universe in which Nati Noot does not get last anymore. Oh. They had 3 points going to this game. SVIFT had 4. 3 more points to get. After these 3 points go to SVIFT, Nati Noot can only get 6 points total and stay behind SVIFT. So congratulations, SVIFT! They're 7th. Woo. They did it. They did not get last in the first season.
I mean,
they did it. It's a tough season actually, so I mean that means something, I guess.
Do you believe in sort of spiritual victories here, DuMmTm? Does the second map matter at all, or a team's going to enter such a level of Clown Town it looks like we're in a circus?
Honestly, with these individuals, I'm not so sure about it on Nati Noot that anything could happen, really. However, maybe they do want to at least win a second map this season.
It does explain the server map change rather quick. You know, you're rather bitter. It's mathematically impossible for you to get into sort of your goal at this point of the season. So,
mind you, this whole thing would have been actually no. How would it have been? Because like a few 2-3 seasons ago, we did like product golden cap points, right? So SVIFT would have gotten 2, they were 6, Nati would have gotten 1, they would have been at 4, right? That would have actually made Nati would still be able to.
Yeah, if we change the rules enough, maybe in some universes we could let the boys have their hope and their copium, but yeah.
Not in this one. The battle for the bottom has been decided, which now just means everyone here stay tuned for the rest of next week as well. We have a lot of games still left to come to decide the battle to the top as well. A lot still to be decided up there at the top of Prem. Witness still has to play some games, CFTZ still has to play some games, and CSG for fans still have to definitively decide which one of them actually gets the higher seed here right now. For fans, that's the easier game, but they also have to actually get more points out of it.
Alright, so we're pretty much doing the victory lap here on this Granary map here, DuMmTm. Can you humour me? Could you tell me who you think would win if it was still coming down to some sort of wire?
I don't know. I mean, SVIFT has historically not been too bad on this map, I want to say as well. But Nati Noot picked us in good confidence, so I'm actually curious just to see how good their Granary is, more so than anything else. I have some confidence in SVIFT's capacity in this map, but Nati Noot is the new team, so I'm just really, really interested to see how they even approach this map.
Is there a way to decide who gets to play whose map in the...
on order? I don't actually know.
That's a good point, because if you were Nati Noot, surely you would want to play out your map first, just to have that sort of hope alive, and maybe just obviously
or you want to play the opponent's map first, because then you know map 2 if it even matters. To like try on your good pick.
Well, you'd have to try on both though,
and if you can win on their map pick, surely you can win on your map pick, right?
That's a good point. I guess it would kind of demotivate them, but it would also put the pressure on. Surely if you play your map pick, your best shot at what you think is to keep you in it, and then you demotivate them from that first map, keep them scared.
Or, bear with me on this one, neither of these teams thought about this at all, and they just did map picks, and this happened to be the case here.
Boo, boo, I say.
And a game with this level of stakes on it, I think that's probably more likely.
I wonder if there is really a superior choice whether or not to have your map pick first or second, and at least in situations like this.
Honestly, I would also think that might just matter with the warm-up more, with the scrim beforehand, like what map you scrim just ahead of the match. Because I see this sometimes, right? Like, what map would you rather want to scrim before you official? The map you play map 1 or the map you play map 2 as the last thing you do beforehand?
I think it depends on your opponents. Usually opponents dictate that a bit more. You kind of just try to barter and hope that they get to do what you want to do.
Especially now this season, right? Or the last two, I guess, now that we have the map system. I do wonder how the current approval is on that in Prem for the map pick system we have at the moment. It didn't seem too disfavored.
I don't hear anybody.
I do know. I think last time I've seen them comment about it. I think Witness didn't love it so much. I don't know how they are on it right now. That was last season.
I think it's more just the concept when people are thinking about, oh man, it's going to be hard to kind of get your maps in that you want to practice and team talk over and all this. But I believe this would hurt lower teams a lot more than it would hurt the higher teams. The higher teams, obviously, you know these maps like the back of your hand. You've been through these talks a million times.
Except for
if you're like a new, well, I guess you could do that. That's your one sort of little chit-chat talk. But if you're some of these lower teams and you need to kind of go back to the drawing board a lot of the time, how many drawing boards can you visit per week, per day?
Yeah, it's a lot of work, I guess. It's a lot less structure, I suppose, to the whole thing as well. In a chaotic way, it means you'll practice every map because you will have to practice what your opponents insist on you playing against them every once in a while.
But if I've just done a 50-minute presentation about how to deal with Granary mid, and then I don't see Granary mid for weeks.
Well, I mean, that's part of it, right? You only can pick half the map pool every time, I suppose, or something like that. A little more than that, actually. Only have a part of it, so you know. You don't ever have the full choice, I guess, is the keyword here. We'll see now, however, who will win in this all-important match. We know who gets last, we know who gets 7th, but do we know by how much?
It is truly a map that does not matter, and that map is Granary. Our teams is Nati Noot, and it's SVIFT. Well, I mean, let's celebrate some TF2. This is just some good old-fashioned fun TF2 here, DuMmTm, with my production here, Beta, showing you all the facts and all the funsies. And my God, is it a disjointed mid?
My God, it's
just jumping in.
Both meds die like less than 30 seconds into the round. It is Granary mid, all right, but Nati coming out swinging again. Had the better start last map, so we'll see how much that matters. But for now, not bad look at all. We'll just take everyone down along with their own medic. So success in most ways here. Might even get some position at second, maybe only a yard, I suppose, outside this point area, but it's better than nothing. Sneaky already just looking everywhere in case someone's hiding. Don't want to be caught by surprise at all. But the rest of the team is here as well. They should be keeping at least a point area inside safe for now.
Yeah, I think the mid could just be chalked up to which team had the most, elevated players out of everybody there. Who was closest to the ceiling and can kind of play off that space. And it did look like Nati Noot for the majority of that fight. But now going into our, you can call that second point, it's more like point 2, point 5, as they have to deal with the yard area. And Yupo maybe going down, brought over by this kind of launch box flank, and yeah, it's actually managed to weasel away. Oh, Playgray even getting a kill during all this chaos, and finally they actually get a force out over on SVIFT during all of that chaos. Faust is going to be sitting pretty.
Yeah, that's exactly what he wanted. I mean, okay, right, a medic being stuck in drop down, I don't think he's ever sitting pretty, to be fair, but no one's on the other side already, no one's quick enough to get there, so Faust is getting out of there just fine in the end, and they got what they wanted earlier. Little trap there, lands her down. I mean, you can afford one scout dying. That might hurt your chances to last, I guess, but you will
trap
get second.
Down, team, trap down. As
someone's gonna check for these.
Yeah, they are capping that point off very slowly. They do have an Uber charge over on Faust and company, but they opt to not use it straight away. Not even scouting this last point for its sentry gun.
Yeah, they just don't like the chances being one down this close to probably having Uber as well. Or do they? Never mind, they're just waiting really, really long. I don't know if that helps them at all. Points about to get, and they still have to wait a second till Lancer to actually be here with the rest of them.
Oh,
weird one, we'll see. If they go down early, bombs towards the cap, slowly coming through, but it all just ends with Poi using as expected.
There wasn't really much coordination coming out from Nati Noot. They had their chance to get in.
However...
Oh, no way. Well, okay, they see him, they're shooting him, they're blocking him, and they've killed him. So...
he could have waited like barely longer, might have done it, but Vortifs don't do anything anymore.
But yeah, that was just a story of Nati Noot kind of all just disconjointed and all doing their own little skirmish fights. You have the Uber charge, you have an inherent advantage. You'd think they want to blob up a bit more and focus fire, but they didn't want to do that. They just wanted to all take their old 1v1s.
Alrighty, here we'll see now if SVIFT can actually do something with this newfound position they have in the game. Good advantage out of this last hold they found themselves in. Should also take mid beyond the second point, I would imagine, but maybe some counterplay when Nati Noot can do something. No one's doing the pixel lamp, it looks like, but still some players trying to play aggressively. Nati Noot caught off guard immediately though, and I don't think anyone else is really in a position to do anything else anymore. Ryan tries anyway, tries to get to the medic here. No scout close to the mat, but no one else is letting him get there anyway.
Yeah, it was a nice attempt by Ryan. It makes me kind of shocked that he survived as long as he did, or put out as much damage as he did, lone little soldier. But I think that just came down to the priority of Swift was just to keep an eye on these soldiers from Nati Noot and see if they can kind of take the fight from there. They're walking in over onto Yard, acting big, and Pandemic taking a nice solo Uber, looking maybe to stick around. They will inch out Boy during all this chaos, and Pandemic is caught out. He will go down, and the rest of Swift do not want to join him.
Yeah, 2 down now. The rest of Swift just gonna be thinking about themselves first here and about their bad survivability. This fight's looking lost already. Most you can have is maybe a sticky trap somewhere, but any other fight ensuing out of that scenario would just be a disaster. Leave as much as they can here, give Nati back to midpoint quickly. No one has new bad out of this one, so they might not have to give up anything else, but after such a good position to take mid from, having to go home empty-handed is a bit disappointing.
Man, it's interesting to see these sorts of decisions that they were pulling off over on Product and bringing it over to Granary as well. A lot of solo Ubers onto Pandemic, but then in the post-Uber fights where you kind of have this bit more like skewed sort of clump up from the rest of Nati Noot, usually you see teams kind of capitalise off that, you know, go and commit to the post-fight after a big solo Uber like that. But they're not just doing that either. It makes kind of confusing as you do lose a bit of people over on Swift trying to hold and toe the line. They actually re-enter the fight to force up, and a nice counter pop coming out from Soy. They have decided to stick into this yard area, but it makes me wonder, they shouldn't be shooting that medic, they should be shooting the players with the guns, and the ones with guns are actually shooting back here. They hurt and they sting, and they actually will claim this yard off of Swift, and they're looking awfully soy now, DuMmTm.
Yeah, looks like the Chad Nati Noot players are taking the yard just fine off this Uber. The little flash Boy did at the beginning just hurt them a lot in hindsight. Made the Uber a little bit worse, where Nati Noot just had a solo Uber instead. Worked out a tiny bit better to keep a bit more control of the slightly longer Uber they had. Small margins like this sometimes make enough of a difference here and gives them another chance to take the second point back, maybe get more chances at last. That one won't come that easy though. Everyone on Swift still all holding together and not letting them take an inch of space. Lots of damage over the point, lots of damage in Lunchbox. EDK gets the kill out of that one as well, and they're trying if they can sneak away anything else through the flank side here as well on the right, and not quite yet. No one's getting through the way they want to.
With Rye going down, you think it would deter most players, but Nati Noot is not like most players. Having a look and glance around, see if there's any sort of easy opportunity over in Z, but nobody's exposed themselves over on Swift. It's 0-0, need I remind you here, DuMmTm.
Yeah, it's been back and forth, but no one's been able to succeed too much just yet. Not even the only team with a chance so far, even, and back in control of things as well. Swift just been spending a lot of time on the back foot this map.
Let's see, what sort of player is going to cook up something here? I feel like Ryan has been awfully clever with pulling something off here. They're actually looking like to do a lunchbox play. They're buffing out Nati Noot to high heavens, and this was just a distraction play to get Ryan in. He will go down to Pandemic, however, as he couldn't quite get on top of point. Not even a single rocket.
Yeah, no success just yet. Maybe some counterplay. Danny trying to see if there's anything to be caught here. Not happening though. It doesn't get through Z in time to catch anyone by surprise. Now the spawners are back as well, and we're going to stay a little bit longer. And Swift is probably more than happy to stay 2 minutes longer. The mid fight earlier, sure they lost, but with an explosive one like this, really anything can happen on take 2. So sure they're okay with it resetting.
I'm going to give credit to both teams though. The fact that, you know, ETF2L wise, this game's over, but in the game wise, they're taking it severely seriously.
They're playing a game, yeah. I've seen worse Week 7 games than this last season with much more stakes to them.
I think it's like if they can win this map, it's like spiritually they can just say to themselves that they're as good as Swift. It isn't a case of gold,
getting
catch,
6 points in your first season of Prem, that's not too bad actually, all things considered.
Oh, they exchange out. They do lose out Nati Noot here. I don't know why they're sticking around so long on Faust. I think maybe he was gesturing for the rest of his team to come in, or it wasn't going quite to plan that they discussed. But during all that discussion, Rye does go down, and Lanza maybe sticking out into this place for too long. Play great. took the exit a bit late as well. Everyone's having a party in this doorway, and none of Nati Noot are invited. They have been killed and maimed, and the midpoint has been given up to Swift.
I don't think we caught that, but Playgray died for the dumbest reason too. He left late because he tried to kill Impo, but he beefed like 2 stickies on him. Impo got the pack while on 10 HP, tanked the 3rd sticky, and then Impo just was stuck by everyone else. Playgray was caught by everyone else. A bit of a sad one there for the Demo Man. I guess the rest of the fight was already losing one anyway, but just makes a bad situation even worse. To lose your Demo, have to wait for respawns here and not have a chance on it even at this rate. Uber's coming up again. It's been a slow-paced game the past few minutes. The first little bit was certainly a lot more action-packed. Both teams now a lot more reserved than we've seen at the beginning of the map. We'll see how they take it from here, but with the Uber situation being even once again, I'm going to be really surprised if Swift still wants to take these exchanges as they have at the beginning.
My crystal ball is telling me that they're probably going to Uber in Pandemic again.
Not yet. EDK is the first one to make a move, but that one's getting deleted pretty much immediately. Second bomb does get a lot closer, but still doesn't find anything, and now they're just 2 down.
They're in over on Nati. Oh god, Rai has been taken out with a nice little air pipe from Upo, and they should definitely fight this over on Swift. There we go, there's the Pandemic solo, as they will exchange out Ubers during all this. Swift hate Ubers, they just want to get rid of them. Ugh.
I mean, something's got to make something happen here, but they're just unable to take space during any of these. It looks like no position taken at all, stuck in the corner, shot down beautifully, and the rest of Nati Noot now fully aware, okay, we're not in a good position either after all of that. We don't want to get nuked down by the soldiers who were on the hunt already. Might seem a little bit excessive, but I respect. I mean, they don't want to get just deleted by EDK and Danny. They were coming hot already, they're still coming in hot anyway. Playgray, that's early, still gets the kill with the pipe. Big one to hit. That was almost a big beat, but the Demo Man will work out just fine. They wanted it the long way around. They want to play it safe. And you know what? It works out in the end. They caught both soldiers perfectly the way intended. Might not be the fastest way to do things, but we're still early on in the game. They have all the time in the world.
Yeah, I guess they were just playing things very calm, very collected over on Nati Noot there, not giving Swift any sort of ample opportunity. But I don't know, I see a heel man, and I see a team without heel man. I feel like heel man team is going to do better. But as I digress, we're going into a sort of a long flank sort of push out to kind of force the hand of Swift to go back here. No sort of hanging about in yard. There's an Uber charge here on the cards, and they're showing their hand. They're popping the Uber. They're trying to get on top of this medic, and Poi does manage to kind of weasel his way back to the respawn. And in all that sort of overextension, Playgray does go down, but they get the second point.
Alright, Poi hanging on, not looking soy anymore, holding on to that just fine. Whole team now on the push out again here. They're trying to make a false happen as well, but it's not going as planned. Nati Noot actually staying in here, the second one by Ryan, but everyone's just chasing scouts by the looks of it, and that's not the kill you want to get, and certainly not the ones they're getting in the end either. It
is really hard to make a force play or some sort of bomb from an indoor, such a claustrophobic area of the map, and yeah, it kind of came out looking like Meals on Wheels. Please sign here, DuMmTm, for your meal.
Well, we'll see who takes the offer in this match right now. They're trying to come in here onto mid as well, Nati Noot, but they're just being beaten out to the punch. I mean, you know, sometimes you just gotta try your best in the kitchen.
Good God. Alright, well, they've got overcharge, they're holding yard, and they've actually gone in for free somewhat on the flank. The little trap!
Daddy immediately. No chance getting past that one. Anti-air has been deployed. It's always fun seeing stickies like this, because you just know in Power Divisions those wouldn't do anything, but sometimes you just gotta account for what your opponents are capable of.
Yeah, keep them guessing as EDK trying to hold off this flank with Pandemic, and they're doing an admirable job. Oh,
that
boy goes down, he loses his Uber, and I guess you could argue the point there that his team shouldn't let him die, or he shouldn't have anybody on top of him like that, and he shouldn't have to use, but that is a soy pop.
There we go. Well, freedom with that as well. Even player, they don't have to play nearly as careful as we've seen earlier out of them as well. In fact, cleaning this one in, Faust and Haxley cleaning up. The medic getting even in on the action right now. Who needs these other guys to defend themselves? Just get in and get the kills yourselves. There you go, Nati Noot. They're in a really good position now, but you always gotta watch out for the forwards one sniper.
I don't know what it is, but I think when you hear the crunch of a medic dropping his Uber, you end up like empowered as a player. Your DM just gets a bit sharper. And
the worst part is that's the same sound effect as teleporters being destroyed as well.
Oh wow! The more you know, kids. You learn something new about TF2 every day.
Faked out by that or not. No, there it is. I tell you now, guys.
They're gonna be.
They did spot that, and
well,
they just didn't call it in time. Faust lets the scout spot and walks in before hearing anything. This is a prime example of something you see a lot in game once you pay attention to it, which is people doing things purely out of instinct without actually thinking about why they're doing it. They check the sticky trap without thinking, why am I even doing this? Just walk in, medic. I've looked for the sticky trap. It's fine.
Well, I guess. What do you say? What do you even say about that? I guess we could move on as Swift are moving on to this midpoint. They've got an Uber charge. There's nobody really there to kind of contest as they have cleaned up Rifle on that sort of blanket in the yard area. I'm interested to see how Swift can drop it now.
I mean, we'll see. It's just been a test of patience for these medics here to see if they can get away with anything this time round.
Nati Noot.
I mean, it's a force. It's definitely good for them, though.
Yeah, and they are trying to pick up the pieces, the remnants with this Uber charge, but I don't think they'll be able to pull it off. And they've got Play Grey back into the fight and ready to kind of hold this point from a nice power play position. So the flank is looking a bit dicey as they will lose.
Yes, the Uber charge as well into choke, chasing deep, trying to see if they can get anything.
Nice from Play Grey to get some
big
kills.
stuff.
And who's the only one? It's only the lowly medic, and he might as well be in the world of the dead. Play Grey, he's chasing for him still.
Oh, no, he leaves. This time round, Play Grey is the soy. And Poi gets out just fine. There you go. I mean, it's just a small consolation prize, but you can't get
If people were worried about being called soy, you would not name yourself Poi. I'm just leaving it out there, okay? But, alright. It's flipped the other way, a seesaw of a game. I'm getting dizzy here. So many heart-breaking back and forth.
We had a short few moments it was slow, but it's coming back into its full picture now. Everyone's figuring it out a little bit more swift. So wants these exchanges, like you mentioned a while ago, but hasn't gotten the chance to really get ahead on many of these.
Playing on to maybe see if they play off these traps. We're on Nati Noot, but they will not bite here on Swift. They are playing things slow, steady, calm and collected as they're seeing what sort of innovations Nati Noot can come up with. They will stop any sort of sticky shenanigans. They have been detonated, and one soldier trying to get in. Nobody really locking down that top area. Danny actually doing a sizable work against the flank who switched over to the other side.
That's a force right there.
Faust has used his Uber after the fact that Sneaky went down, and I guess he just didn't see that scout coming in. Look at Poi, he's rolling forward. They pop the Uber, the red light to go seems, and they will clean up over the rest of Nati Noot. They have one Weasley little scout that they have to deal with, and he's going to be even more Weasley. He's going even further behind. He's going to pick up a health pack, maybe even back cap.
Alright, we'll see. No, I mean, much too late. I don't even think actually should have tried at that point. Well, they're never going to beat out anyone there on the midpoint anymore now. Just revealed themselves instantly taken care of as well. Not standing a chance, and with one player less to worry about it, it's going to make Swift's push across the map a lot easier.
Back the other way, boys! Back the other way as we have entered the reverse gear once more.
Oh, Poi's eating so much damage. Don't have an Uber to force even. Got to be careful here. More stick is coming from Play Grey. Wants this so bad.
They were doing this. I almost swore there, but they were doing this rubbish over on week 1 over on Swift, and they've done the same sort of beats have happened again.
No, Sneaky shoots like 5 shots on Hextree.
Oh, don't do it to him.
Just one taps him.
Down. Oh, EDK couldn't get the health back. Sad days, and the rest of Swift are out, and it's a lowly riot over on this midpoint. Everyone's high-fiving each other. Well, say it with me, boys and girls. Back the other way.
Yeah, Swift just cannot really get far. Okay, I need Twitch to tell me this. Have Swift capped second this match yet? I don't think so, actually. I don't remember anyway. It's been a rough one getting past this yard area for them anyway. Tough look for them now. We're already halfway through the game, and it's once again Nati Noot in mid-control. If you have like a heat mode of this game, it would be very blue so far. They haven't converted enough yet anyway.
Nati managed to get in. Rise in as well. Double soldier bomb into the air, trying to get on top of this medic, but he is all the way out, and he is cut off from the sky from that nice little sort of drop down area, denying any sort of rockets that could land his way. So with 2 soldiers down, that's more than probable cause for this push. They're in quite cleanly over on Swift and haven't quite isolated all. They drop Hex during this Uber from Faust, and they will get down Upo. That is a successful sort of kill to bring out, but they still haven't popped their own Uber over on Nati Noot. Over on Swift, I should say, as Nati Noot will go down. Faust trying to join his team and maybe try and change teams.
Oh, but here's
going to
Nati
the
Noot
side.
with the pixel lamp trying to fall on him. Gets the sync bomb on the scout. That's not the one you want to kill here. Oh no. We took the easy kill, not the good one.
I mean, it did slow things down for a bit. Could you, I mean, just fathom that Poi didn't have to pop his Uber during all of that?
Yeah, working out brilliantly. And across the doors again, and back we go where we came from. Can they actually cap the second point this time? This Uber should do it, but many disasters struck in yard.
They do have an advantage this time, but it's got to make them a bit scared because it does give ample time for Nati Noot and company to find their sort of forcing spots, their sort of hiding bits, and they're all pushing through the left-hand yard, seeing if they can just force them back into the way. Threat of the lunchbox push alone. Sticky trap! Oh my god, that was so close!
No one's checking for anything today. We just want to press W, and you know what? They still have 5% Uber ad. It's time to go in.
Oh my god, why would... Oh my, he wasn't even looking at it. I think that's what made it like less dangerous. If you just don't look at it, like a cartoon character, it won't happen. Like walking off
Bombs
a
with
cliff.
powers, he takes 100. There's the rest of it. We're not using again.
Why is everybody jumping in?
I mean, why wouldn't you? It's working clearly.
Oh my god, I can't believe they... Why come they don't have a heavy weapons guy for that last... Okay, whatever. Too many questions left unanswered as they have pushed out. They have successfully got the Uber out of the world for Nati Noot. They will be sitting on a pretty 100% Uber advantage, and they should have everybody ready for this last push with it. Let's see what they can come up with over on Nati Noot. Where are the off-classes? There we go. Finally, Lander's coming back as sniper. We've got an engineer on last.
I mean, we'll see how it goes for them. They have some defensive class at least, but both better than what we've seen just now. No, that is!
Oh my god! You can't write it. You can't write it. Life is drama and life is pain, as Poi has just managed to go down yet again.
Life is a Wojak meme, and Swift Poi remains the soy, while Lancer is the chat.
They're trying to play for the back tap, and Pandemic...
I mean, he's not even going for that. He's just killing anyone
he's
closer.
Shooting everybody. Everybody went backwards for that Pandemic scout, and he's absolutely tore out this push from Nati Noot. The only sort of saving grace, they've got a bit of heals on the side.
I mean, you know what? This looked exactly like a situation that Nati Noot is going to push out of last with advantage, right?
Okay.
Who would have not seen this coming, to be honest? That's what you'd have to see, a very unpredictable game, just making for good content.
9 minutes left, 100% overcharge. We're all pushing from top. There's less sort of worry in doorways, but it does make it kind of easy for these soldiers to shoot that 2 square pixel area for them to win. They finally pop off Uber now over on Nati Noot, but they can't seem to find anybody to kill with the stinking Uber, and they have to awkwardly, shamefully go back out of their midpoint that they've attacked the Uber with. Pandemic's hungry. He's going in and he's acting just so sort of big to say he's got such little health, and he will kind of go back again the other way with Swift, as now they're the ones fighting the Uber advantage.
We'll see Ryan close to the medic point. No!
Drop again! He drops Uber!
Chad, how many drop has this been so far?
I pick up the piece of this point. They're entering the meat grinder. Everybody, we're going back the other way. If this was tennis, this game would never end.
I mean, it's a good thing we don't have any golden caps. Actually, okay, can we get an admin on this one? If this map ties in regular time, do we just not play golden cap, like, for legal reasons?
It means nothing. And yet
Can
these
no one
teams
get
are
the bonus
fighting
point?
like it's the decides the fate of the fucking earth.
You know what? I respect it. There's nothing on the line here than pride, and Swift doesn't want to lose another map. Nati Noot wants to get another win.
Danny and EDK, they're going in. Nati Noot has never been so baited in his entire life. Where are the rest of Nati Noot? They're coming in now, delaying their push. They have the Uber charge. Sneaky's cut up behind, by the way. He's popping shots into Playgrade. Faust will pop an Uber during all this chaos, and Sneaky manages to get away for the majority of this pain, but Swift are thinking mission accomplished, and they still got the midpoint during all this. They're coming back in with the fight, but they realise they've looked at the counter. I don't have an Uber charge, says Poi, and he has to come back out. He's going to get killed by the crossbow. EDK's come back from the world living. He will go down as well. And yeah, they did have some respawns during all that. Why did they push in with just 2 players and no
The only thing popping tonight is your blood vessels, I think.
Oh my god.
However,
okay,
we need some overly dramatic music. We have the spy on the devil man.
He's gonna kill the devil man. Okay, no, he isn't. He's fine.
Just in play inside.
I mean, it was quite... This is the kind of chaotic moments that you would not expect to spy, so I can respect it from Sneaky. One last point. We've even got a heavy weapons guy. No sentry gun, as they don't think they've got the time to set one up over on this final point for Swift. It's 0-0. It's 6 minutes left. I'm more than confident to say this. Whoever wins this round is going to be the winner of our match.
One team's in a really good position
Very
for that.
nice
Info dice spawn the lead. They're heavy already. Nati Noot on point, but still have Ryan on the high ground as well. That just bodes so well for the rest of this fight. Scouts shoot anything down, and Ryan lands on the point to finish it up. And with only 6 minutes left, Nati Noot finally clawed themselves into a lead.
Much better push. By a million miles was that a better push from Nati Noot. They all just kind of pincered and focused one point for the Nati Noot squad. And then during all that sort of chaos and fracture from Swift, it was kind of easy for these scouts to play over on Nati Noot. With one round on the board, it's just one round, however, and they could turn it around quickly on Swift. Let's see what kind of mid they can come up with. There's both soldiers flying high in the sky. Boy will go down, and they are trying to take out Faust during all this. Faust does get the health back during all this chaos, so it's going to be a lot harder for Swift to get these kills onto the medic, and they've actually kept him alive over on the Nati Noot squad.
That was really good anti-air by the 2 blue scouts as well. Lancer and Hexery really saved the day at the end. Even with the health back, it was still dangerous to be stuck with this many people flying in on your medic at the end. And for a 5-year-old child, Hexery did really well on that one.
Alright. They have claimed second. They've got a overcharge advantage. And what have they got to fight up against? Barely a level 2 sentry gun setup. They're just getting all their players' bits and pieces ready and kind of packing the sandwiches over on Nati Noot, taking their time with it. So it will give Swift ample opportunity to get all the bits they want ready. The level 3 sentry gun is prepared, and let's see what Nati Noot can pull off as they pop in nice and early. They already take out the sentry gun, and now it's time to rotate to that Batman. Everybody's stacked on that one doorway over on Swift, and during all the sort of point defending chaos, they have actually exchanged out enough players, but there's just too much to deal with and too much health. Swift will breathe a sigh of relief all this round at least.
Alright, well, don't want to just sit back here for the end of time. They want to have the 2-round lead with this little time left. That is a death sentence for Swift, but maybe they should take an easy way around, just stall them down a little bit. Runtimer is benefiting him in that far at least. However, Swift gets a chance here. Let's see what Hexery can do.
Alright, so
conjure up over here.
He's fired one shot, so they should be aware of the sniper now. And yeah, they definitely see him over on the scout play. So they're going to rotate Hex rounds over onto the midpoint instead.
This is such a bad angle though, anyone mid.
Keep in mind though, they just need to play the delay game over on Nati Noot if they want to close out this map for them. Danny's goes in first. He will get taken out really quickly. I guess you would call that making space for his team, as now they feel a little less confident pushing in on this midpoint.
They're just struggling getting past the sideline for so long as well. Swift eats 100. It's terrifying for Swift, but they finally get towards this point as well. Yeah. It's slow progress, and that's kind of just not at all it right now for the side of Swift. They need something stat. They have 3 minutes left. Time is running out quick.
I mean, 3 minutes is still quite a long time in FPS land. I think they can do it if they keep giving away points like they do over on Nati Noot. But again, this is what they hope for. It's kind of cashing out a bit early at the blackjack table, just to kind of keep their sort of pot alive. And they still got Hex on Sniper, keep in mind.
Yeah, we'll see what that can do for them here. Hexery on the Sniper is just a threat to have to worry about. Once again, the anti-air traps continuing to work wonders for Playgoy. Second bomb comes through, but shot in the air. Just no momentum in this bomb after you get hit by anything like that. You wouldn't think Sniper's good on this map, but sometimes it's just good enough, I guess.
It just does too much. It does everything. It's what a class, what a player, as they put.
Chad, vote with your chat box below. What do you want to ban first, Sniper or Engineer?
Oh no, Twitch chat is in array. As they will throw Nati Noot, they're thinking about pushing it. They do lose that one player, and that's enough for Nati Noot to back out here. They're just again cashing back out, making sure they're not throwing too many risks at this point. 2 minutes left on the clock. They're all trying to battle through the doorway. I've seen nightmares of the scenarios of this before. Pandemic will go down, unless Poi goes loses out on his scout. They have to. Oh no, Yumpo immediately goes down as he does, I guess, technically force out the Uber during all that. I think that's just Faust being itchy trigger finger, as, you know, again, this timer ticks more and more down. Safe plays win.
2 minutes left. Nati Noot just needs to play safe for a little bit longer to claim this back. They had so much more control this entire map as well. They looked a little bit ahead, not by enough to really get a big lead, but it might just be enough to run away with it if they can keep that composure for a little bit longer. We'll see what it is. Snipe. No, how do you exactly not hit that? The scout is basically standing still, building. Misses the shot. That wouldn't have mattered a whole lot, but I mean, any bit of time spent with Note 6 on live on the server is just good time for Nati Noot. They're getting so far in as well already. The case just behind for free.
Ooh, it's a bit scary,
Big damage, and Crypt Zoid goes down again.
Oh no. Well, with an overcharge pretty much on the books for Faust as well, 1 minute left, I think they would struggle to lose this even if they took the hand off the keyboard.
I mean, there's not much more they have to do to win this. Pandemic is in the... Oh, sorry, Sneaky's in the back lines, but is that enough at this point? Takes the 1v1 with Lance as well. Wins it barely.
Does win it. That's got to be a headache.
And he's so weak still, even after the pack, and there's a long way to go, and the rockets, you can't dodge them.
But it does allow the rest of Swift to get in, though, because they're a bit sheepish about holding these doors close because of that scout behind. 41 seconds left on the clock. Soldier does get plinked out to the sky. They even lose their one soldier on the flank as well. They back out here, but I don't think that's an option at this point. 30 seconds left.
I mean, they only have one chance at this right now. They don't have Uber, they don't have every player, but they just need to get going. 20 seconds, I think. It might just be over already here, but we gotta pretend a little longer.
There was not enough damage in that scat's gun, in that sort of sticky launcher to take out the entire team. Sneaky does kind of pot shot poor Riot over on the flank as well. 8 seconds left, and it's just more than over at this point on. But they are kind of going straight to last. 2 seconds left. It's over.
We got a live opinion. We got a Poi live reaction in the chat as well, saying bah ha 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 ha. So thank you for that input. Much appreciated. This explains a lot that's going on here right now. Yeah.
I mean,
this looked most of the game like Nati Noot did the first 2 rounds of product, I will say. Not super far ahead, but just enough to get away with it.
The only thing that went against Nati Noot, I guess you could say, is obviously that first man. But also a big part was not even in their control. It was the impact that Swift made during the season against one poor team where they got a golden cap. And that the tables are flexing really hard between Swift tonight.
I mean, I guess if anything, as much as their last place, right? Nati Noot won the hearts of the people this season. I have seen people before the season started, after the Prem quality, say that they would not get any points, and this is like one of the worst teams that made it into Prem in a long time. But you know what? They got 6 points. I have seen much more now accomplished players get much less points than that in the first Prem season.
Yeah. Plus, these two teams had kind of 2 different stories from an aspect. I feel like Nati came out of the gate, guns blazing. They were really shocked people straight away. While Swift, they were much more of a slow burn. I saw their week 1 game, and boy, it wasn't great. But they feel like in their journey they have grown, and
honestly,
maybe not grown to a complete status that they may want to or hope to achieve completely, but they have nonetheless grown, and they've grown just a bit over Nati Noot, at least on the point Richter scale of ETF2L system.
Yeah, and just midway through the season, they already made TF2 New Panther really work to actually getting wins of them as well. Good points of one of them, and one of those teams is currently technically first, ignoring that some people haven't played even amounts of games yet, actually. That aside, I guess. So, this roster still has some promise for sure. I'm really keen to see what these guys can deliver in the future.
And plus, they've done it now. That's week 7. That's the games are over now. They can throw their cap. They don't have to go and pop another stick
it's their time to shit talk everyone else.
Thank goodness. All right.
From the backseat.
DuMmTm, before we say goodbye to Swift and Nati Noot for the finals, and even some Twitch chat viewers, at least until they come back again for some more Team Fortress TV content, is there you got anything wise words to say to the boys and girls over?
Well, we still have 4 games left to watch from 2 weeks ago. It's a very late game. We still have the big one. Some might say, I don't know if that's still true this season, even after what we've seen last week, but we still have TF2 Easy against Witness Gaming left to be played, as well as the rest of week 7 games, which is CSG against TF2 Easy. CSG needs to see some points out of this real bad, because if in the other week 7 game, Shadow Wizard Money Gang against 4 Fans just clean sweeps, get 6 points, they will get playoffs guaranteed. So those 2 games might not have the most direct consequences with the teams playing, but across the division, that matters a lot actually as well. And then what might just be the secret summit for first as well this season, New Panther against Witness Gaming as a Week 7 game as well. We'll have to see who comes out on top between those two. And for sure, between those two and TF2 the top 3, we'll have, I would imagine, some really, really interesting games between each other.
All right, that sounds all very exciting. I bet you're wondering how on earth I'm going to keep contact and keep on top of all of this. Don't worry, we've got you covered over on teamfortress.tv. Just head on over, punch that into Google. I'm sure you'll find us. But you can always just follow us here on Twitch. We've got YouTube content that is slowly being rolled out, even some old content from the past yesteryear as well. And we've got other things on there. We've got delightful Thorns, all that jazz. You've even got your boy TurboTabs and DuMmTm. We'll be about there over on Team Fortress TV every now and then. We've even got Beta saying a speaking role every now and then, but sometimes producing as well. All right, that's been us. I think DuMmTm. Say bye-bye to the nice boys and girls.
Puyo.